Hello, I am going to do a video to cover some of the best practices that you want to do when you first get into an ad account. Now, this video is going to be relevant for new advertisers on LinkedIn since it's going to have some of the foundational best practices that you need to do as soon as you start your ad account. But it's also relevant for people that have been running on LinkedIn ads already, whether you've been running them for a long time or just started running them. Approximately 80 to 90% of the accounts that I've audited, and I've audited hundreds and hundreds of accounts, have some foundational setup, not issues, but have missed some best practices that they'll want to put in place to ensure they're maximizing their efforts on LinkedIn. So we're going to cover in this video the LinkedIn Insight tag, setting up the right matched audiences, and also looking at your conversion tracking. So first and foremost, the first thing that you want to do when you open your ad account is you want to make sure that your Insight tag is installed. This is a really important step. The Insight tag is what gives you the ability to place a pixel on traffic that's going to your website and being able to retarget them to build trust and credibility, to promote events, to promote maybe a special offer, whatever it is that you want to retarget the audience with, you'll have the ability to do that. But you can't do that unless you have your Insight tag installed. So you'll want to go to where it says Analyze in your options here on the left, click on Signals Manager, and it'll be right here on the top. It says Create Insight Tag. Now it gives you a few options here. It says I will use a tag manager. So for like Google Tag Manager, I will send the tag to a developer or I'll install the tag myself. Now it is a pretty easy thing to do. Whenever you install the Insight tag, it needs to go into the footer of your website. So if you're semi-proficient at knowing website builders, you basically have to find the universal footer and you plug the Insight tag right into that. If you don't know your way around, it's very easy to either ChatGPT or Google the answer on how to install it for your specific website builder. Or, of course, if you have a web developer, you can send it to them. So if you click on this option, it'll send it to your developer. You can simply email it. I'm going to click here on I'll install the Insight tag myself. Just copy. All you have to do is click here to copy the code to your clipboard, and then you just paste it in your global footer. So it can take up to 24 hours to pick up Signal, but once it does, it'll show you that it's active here on your Signals Manager page. So that's the first step, is making sure Insight tag is installed. Next, you'll want to create your matched audiences. So this is a big area of opportunity that a lot of businesses have. Matched audiences are a way for you to create audiences in different ways in order to capture the people that you would like or the prospects that you would like to target with other things or in other strategies or other mediums. So the best practice to do this is typically setting up your matched audiences in advance. You might have different ways you want to use them. You might want to retarget the typical 90-day window that we do for staying top of mind with our interested audience, which means anybody that's visited your website in the last 90 days, anybody that's gone to your company page, or anybody that's engaged with your ads. You want to set those up from the beginning. Now, the most important one to set up is going to be your website visits, because with website visits, it won't start collecting people until the Insight tag is installed and working, and also the matched audience is built in your platform. For company page visits, for single image interactions, for video views, all of those are retroactive. So all of those can go back a year and still get that data so that you can use it for an audience. But for your website, it'll only start once you have the matched audience in place and the Insight tag is working. So those are always the very first thing that I set up. So if you go to create audience and hit matched audience, you'll see there's a list here of different audiences that you can do. You can upload company lists or contact lists. You can do the company page visit, so anybody that's been to your company page. You can do CAPI, which directly integrates with your CRM and allows you to import data directly from your CRM. If you run event ads, you can retarget people that registered for the event or engage with the ads. Single image interactions, anybody that either interacted with the image or they clicked on the call to action button. Anybody that's visited your website. For conversation ads, anybody that engaged with conversation ads, anyone that engaged with document ads. If you ran lead gen forms, you can build two audiences with this. One is basically anybody that interacted with the lead gen forms, and another is the people that submitted the lead gen forms. So the way that you'll typically want to do that is you have an audience of people that submitted the lead gen forms, but you exclude the audience of people that already submitted. Or maybe you have additional retention steps after they submit a lead gen form, in which case you'll want that audience also. And then the video views. So if you're running videos and anyone has watched a certain percentage of your choice, you can retarget them based on how much of that video they watched. So video and single image are dependent on what you're running now and what you ran before. So again, foundationally, the best thing to set up first is going to be website visits. So I have a pretty straightforward naming convention when I put these into place. I'll do website visits and then the amount of time. So I'll put 30 days on these. You want to change this to 30 days in the past. And here's where you put, I always switch to contain. So starts with means it has to be a very specific way that when that URL comes up in a browser, you're saying it starts with this. For example, https://www, whatever, right? And keep this in mind. Anywhere you have that insight tag has the ability to build a matched audience for it. So if you have it on several domains, you can actually collect that from several domains. So whatever you set up here, if you have an insight tag in several places, you want to make sure it's unique specifically for the domain that you're looking at. You could even set this up for specific pages on your website. So if you want to build an audience based off people that specifically visit your pricing page, you can absolutely do that. So in this situation, I almost always use contains, because what you want to find is a unique identifier specifically for what you're trying to build a matched audience on, and then just put that identifier into the field here. So for example, if I have a pricing page on my website and I know the insight tag is on my main domain and I want it to pick up just people that go to the pricing page, I'm just going to put pricing. And anybody that visits the pricing page will go into this audience. Now, I typically start broader, so I might put those audiences in place for later down the road if I'm considering doing a more high intent type of effort or strategy. But in this case, I'm going to start with just the building blocks, right? So keep in mind, build anything that you think that you're going to use later. Now's the right time to build it because it has to start collecting data. For this example, we're just going to use the domain. So in our domain, I'm not going to put www, https, anything like that. If a URL pops up that contains influent.co, anybody hits our website in any way, I want them to come into this audience. And so I'm going to go ahead and create that audience. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to create this for 60, 90, and 180 days. See that? So again, I want to do this because I want the flexibility to be able to use these as I see fit based on the situation. So I might say, hey, I have the special offer, special event coming out. I want to use my website visitors for 30-day windows because in that 30-day window, it's the people that have the most recent engagement and the highest intent based out of your retargeting bucket. In that case, it's ready for you to use. Now, generally, we use 90 days because 90 days is a solid window. If anybody's engaged with your website in the last 90 days or 3 months, I want to stay top of mind. Remember, these are busy decision makers. We want to make sure that we have a way to retarget them. We want to use the right kind of ads and content to build trust and credibility, but you have to stay in front of them. This gives you the ability to do that. Now, after I set up my website visit matched audiences, I'm going to do the same with my company page visits. Now, company page visits are retroactive. So once I build a company page matched audience, I'm going to do the very same thing that I did with my website visits. I'll put in company page visits. And then again, I'm going to do all of them. Now, this is retroactive, but it takes a couple days to build. So it's good to have these ready so you don't have to worry about that couple days for it to build when you want to use them. Now, sometimes they archive and you refresh them. That's completely fine. It'll take another couple days. But typically, again, 30, 60, 90, 80. Now, if you want to go back 365 days, you absolutely can. So I'm working with the client now who's doing a rebrand of their logo, their company name. And so they want to announce to everybody that knows their current brand that they're rebranding. So in which case, I'm going to go back 365 days because if anybody's been to their company page in the last 365 days, I'm going to announce the rebrand to them. So again, I'm going to do 30 days through 365 days. I won't do them all now for sake of time, but I think you understand the foundation that we're building here. So my website visits, my company page visits, and again, if you already ran or are running single image interactions, you can do that as well. You'll want to make sure to have it in place definitely if you're currently running ads. So anybody that's engaging with those ads, they'll fall into a bucket also, and then video views. So with video views, just to show you, you can also pick not only the time in the past, but the percentage of the video that they watched. Now, I look for intent. So I want to make sure that if I'm building an audience I'm going to retarget or stay in front of prospects with, I want some sign of intent that they were genuinely interested, because those are the people that you want to spend your budgeting dollars on. In this situation, usually for top of funnel videos, I'm going to say, 15 seconds to 45 seconds, maybe up to a minute is the max I'd recommend. And on the lower end, if I'm using maybe up to 30 seconds, I'd use people that watch at least 97% of the video. If I'm up on 45 seconds or a minute, I'll probably go down to 75% of the video. But if you go down all the way to 25%, it's not really genuine interest. It's just capturing people that saw part of your video. And I think you're going to get a lot of people that you don't want in your retargeting audience. So once you have your foundational matched audiences set up, now you want to check your conversion tracking. So again, for conversion tracking, you want to make sure your insight tag works. But the best way to set up a conversion is with a thank you page. There are lots of options that you can do. So we're going to go to insight tag conversion, but you can upload a list here. So if you have conversions from the last 90 days, maybe all the new clients you've gotten or scheduled calls you've gotten in the last 90 days, you can upload it here and it'll give credit to anybody that saw your ads that are part of that list in the last 90 days. You could also use CAPI. And again, CAPI is a conversion API, which helps you set up direct integrations with your CRM. So let me just pick a couple things here, go to the next step. So there's a ton of options here that you can set up CAPI with. So you can set up Salesforce directly, HubSpot. They do go through Zapier, but there's all these direct integrations that you can do from a CRM or from a data source directly into your LinkedIn platform. Not only that, you can use CAPI for matched audiences as well. So if you have a funnel stage that you can't really download a list and upload it, or if it's just not as effective because typically contact lists aren't, you can use CAPI to directly integrate, and you can actually import that data to make sure you're honing in as much as possible, specifically on the funnel layer that you want. Now, I'm going over just best practices here. So typically that's going to be a thank you page. If you go to oursinfluent.co, this is a hidden page on our website, and the only way that you do is once you book a call, it'll bring you to this page. It's very easy to set up. It's very easy to create. I'll cover that in another video. If you're using Calendly, it's also, again, very easy to use it as the redirect for Calendly to come to this page. So that being said, we're going to assume that you have a thank you page. So I'm going to go to create conversion. I'm going to say insight tag conversion, thank you page. We'll say this is a lead or a booked appointment. We'll just say lead here. And as much as possible, you want to put a value for this conversion. What is a lead worth to you? And if you don't know, reverse engineer it. What is the lifetime value of a client? What's a new sale value of your average client? How many book calls does it take to get a sale? So if a sale is worth, just as an example, $1,000, and it takes 10 calls to get to $1,000 to get that one sale for $1,000, that means each call is worth $100. And then reverse engineer that. So how many leads does it take to hold a call? Maybe it takes 20 leads to hold 10 sales calls. So now each of those leads is worth $50. So in this situation, let's say I use that 50. I'm going to use the standard time frame here, that anybody that's clicked on your ads in the last 30 days, or they've seen your ad in the last 7, this will count a conversion for them. Now you want to use last touch, last campaign. And you want to do that because that'll give you attribution for the last ad that they engaged with or saw before they ended up converting. Now, this is just one conversion you want to set up. This is the true number of actual people that converted because it's only giving attribution for one ad that they engaged with, and it's the last ad that led to the conversion. So then we'll hit next. There are website actions that might pop up for you. So different buttons on your website, different pages. They've made it very easy to set up different conversions based on those things. But in this example, we're going to do a manual conversion setup. we're going to say on a page load. So for me, the only way to get to that thank you page is for either someone has to type it in or they have to book a call, which will revert back to the thank you page. So I'm going to say any URL that pops up on our domain that has think-u in it, I want that to set up a conversion, to count as a conversion. Now, you'll also want to set up an additional conversion. So if that other conversion was based on the last touch, this one's going to be based on each. So what that means is, and I'll give this a much lower conversion value. I'm just going to put in $1 in there. I'm still going to use the same time frame, but I'm going to use last touch each campaign. So what this means is if they saw or engaged in an ad in the top of funnel campaign, and then they clicked on some ads in your middle of funnel campaign, and they saw a couple text ads, and maybe they converted on a bottom of funnel ad, as long as it's within this time frame, it's going to give attribution for each ad that they engaged with. So it might pop up with 5 conversions, but it was actually only one person because it's giving a conversion for every ad they engaged with. I do this because I want to know all the ads that influence the ultimate conversion. I set up both because I want to know the actual number of conversions, the actual number of people that converted, and I want to know the last ad they did. So this helps me show the full journey that people are engaging with on different ads to convert. And last touch means that's the actual number of conversions and the last ad that drove that conversion. So again, I'll put think-u and I'll save it. Now, if you want to take it one step further, again, this can kind of get messy with the numbers. So it really depends on how you analyze it and how you're looking at your numbers. As long as you understand that we do this for a reason. So I put in a 90-day view also. And I do that. I won't put any conversion value for it. But I do that because buying cycles are longer than 30 days. Buying cycles for most businesses are longer than 90 days. But that's just the longest that we can track a conversion for. So I'll typically set up a 90-day window, clicks and views, because I want to know, did LinkedIn come up on the screen or did they engage with any ads in the last 90 days? And this is going to give me a much more fuller comprehensive number. And again, I'm going to set it up manually. I'm going to put contains think-u. And now I have my rudimentary setup here. So now I know exactly how many last touches I have. So that's how many actual conversions came, how many each touches, so all the ads they engaged with, and then I have a broader window to know all the people that were influenced, because it's actually very unlikely that everyone's going to convert within the last 30 days. So this really needs a deeper conversation on attribution, marketing ecosystem, so on and so forth. But this is my best practices to ensure that you have the conversions tracking to know exactly what LinkedIn's influencing, especially within that last 90-day window. So I hope this helps. I think that everyone should go in and have this fundamental setup. I hope you found some value in it. Look for my next video where I'll dive further into what you can do with matched audiences. I'm also going to create a separate video on how you can set up the conversion tracking easily on your website and then to redirect from Calendly. Thank you. Have a great day.